Welcome back to Gothic Homemaking. I'm Aurelio Voltaire, and this beautiful lady sitting next to me is my fiancée, Miss Mayumi Toyoda.
Hello.
Today we're starting something a little new. It's a new series called Spooky Travel Tuesdays, where we will presumably take you to spooky places. Now, because this is the first episode in the series, we're taking it slowly. And what does that mean? It means we're not taking you right away to somewhere really obvious like the catacombs of France or
Transylvania,
Dracula's castle, Salem, Massachusetts, Sleepy Hollow. We might get to all those places, but we're starting slow. We're just dipping our toes in the dark water, and we're going to a place that you wouldn't expect to be spooky at all. Because we went to this place not expecting it to be spooky at all, but it ended up having some spooky undertones. Surprises. Do you want to tell these nice people where we went?
Oh, Sayulita, Mexico.
Sayulita, Mexico. Sayulita is a town in Mexico, about 45 minutes away from Puerto Vallarta. And we went there because I had asked Mayumi what she wanted for her birthday. And do you remember what you told me?
Yes, I said, let's go to the beach.
Yeah, let's go to the beach. So, of course, I pulled out a map. I tried to find Transylvania's finest beach. But she specifically wanted to go to Sayulita. And she specifically wanted to go to a place there called
Playa Escondida.
Playa Escondida, hidden beach. Now, Playa Escondida, I don't know whether to call it a hotel or a resort. I mean, it's really kind of hard to describe. I described it to a friend of mine, and he said that's a curated experience. So I'll just tell you about it. It is a series of huts in the jungle. And they really are huts, and they really are in the jungle. Now, it's a walk away from the beach, and it's not like you're like out in the middle of the jungle by yourself. There's a staff, and there's a small restaurant.
Yes.
So, you know, anything that you might need or any emergency you might have is going to be taken care of. But it is a way to get like a taste of the jungle.
Yeah.
Without actually like diving headfirst into the Amazon.
Absolutely.
So we went there, and like I said, we went there expecting a really pleasant beach vacation, but there were some interesting surprises.
Yes.
I think that's all we'll tell you for now.
Okay.
Should we give them a little tour of the hut that we stayed in?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Take a look. This was our little hut nestled in the jungle. It was a round adobe structure with an open-air concept, meaning it had no windows. In fact, you can see our bed just there. It had a thatched roof, and between the roof and the room was, well, nothing. That is, nothing but beautiful, gorgeous jungle. Of course, that means that anything from the jungle might be inclined to enter. In fact, our first day we discovered that something or someone had gotten into some sugar packets. Then we found this little note in our hut. Coati-mundis are very curious creatures and can be entertaining, but sometimes pesky. They live in the jungle, but if they can find a way into your house, they'll use their agile front paws to open cupboards, even refrigerators, in search of food. Looking around, the only creature we spotted was this small lizard. Playa Escondida has a beautiful pool where you can spend time cooling down from the jungle heat. The pool is located directly next to their restaurant, where you're welcome to glide in for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or a snack. And all of this is situated a 3-second walk from their private beach. You can rent golf carts if you want to go into town, and we did just that. I have a new chauffeur, Mayumi Toyoda.
Hello.
It's a very bumpy road, and that's how roads are in the jungle.
Yes.
Sayulita is a beautiful town that has earned the title of Magical Town or Pueblo Mágico, a designation given by the Mexican government to towns that meet certain criteria. And I can tell you that even the Coca-Cola truck here looked quaint and from a simpler time. There are bright colors everywhere you look and vibrant murals all over town. You'll find lots of artisanal arts and crafts here, one of the stipulations of the Pueblo Mágico designation. And even goths can find a lovely pendant like this one. And this hair clip would complement any Gothic ensemble. In the earring section, I found these in black and purple. And because it's Mexico, it's easy to find skull-themed items. In this little shop, I found these bronze skull items like the kind I come a-knockin' for in Indonesia. And even while shopping for angel wings, there's something for the devilish and macabre soul with a heart for horror. The average tourist comes to places like this looking for sun, tropical weather, and bright colors. And while they might be content finding Nemo, leave it to me to spot the one shop that had skull tote bags and linen clothing with creepy crawlies. If the dog days of summer are getting you down, you can drop into one of the many bars in Sayulita that will never let you forget that you're in a beach town. And in fact, the main beach is just at the end of this street. On the beach, you can rent surfboards and beach furniture and join in the fray. Before leaving town, I thought we might get hungry later on, so I hobbled over to a fruit stand to get some healthy snacks. I picked up some apples, pears, and these gorgeous mangoes that would make for a great late night treat. But for whom? Then it was back to Playa Escondida, where we had dinner by the ocean, then sat back and enjoyed the view. We had a really lovely time sitting out there. We had a bite, we had some drinks, we watched the sunset.
Beautiful.
And then we walked up the dark stairs through the jungle back to our hut. But when we arrived, we realized we had had a visitor.
We weren't alone.
We weren't alone. We trekked through the darkness and arrived back at our hut to find these tracks, and I'm pretty sure they weren't made by those ants. Inside we found that someone had opened our refrigerator with their dexterous little digits, removed our late night snack, and ate a mango before skulking back into the jungle. What dark force from the jungle had visited us in the middle of the night? I felt like Goldilocks. I was like, someone has been sleeping in my bed.
And someone has been eating my mangoes.
Now, maybe it was a Coati Mundi, like the little card said, or maybe it was something else. We would not find out that night. We went to sleep, and the next morning we woke up and went into town, and little did we know that on the way into town we would stumble upon the beach of the dead.
Take a look.
That day it would be my turn to drive, but luckily for all involved, I'm actually a most excellent driver. Oops. Suddenly, and much to our surprise, we found a sign that read Playa los Muertos, or Beach of the Dead. Naturally, we went to investigate. After a short drive through the jungle, as we neared the beach, we began to see colorful tombs. We pulled into the entrance to the beach, and there, for 100 pesos, or about $5, you can park your car here and visit your deceased relatives there. It's a very short walk from car to crypt. Mere steps from the beach, you'll find Playa de los Muertos. Right away, I could see that it was a Christian cemetery, and the colorfulness of the tombs was surprising until you consider the tropical location. Placing a cemetery near the beach seems like an odd choice for me, but I'm sure that like in New Orleans, that's why the tombs are above ground, to ensure the remains don't wash away during a hurricane. At first I thought this was an abandoned cemetery, and looking around there were definitely signs of decay and neglect. But then, suddenly a sign that there was in fact life in this city of the dead. There were fresh flowers on some of the graves, and while some were covered in dead leaves, perhaps the caretaker just hadn't gotten to those yet. This tropical necropolis provided for an interesting case study in how social status follows us beyond our lives and into death. Just a quick glance at the tombs showed great diversity of economic and social standing, from the extremely modest to extravagant resting places. From those who have been forgotten to those who are still well looked after long after their deaths. While in America one might visit a family member's grave once a year, in Mexico celebrations with loved ones continue long after their passing. Like this birthday party for a small child, heartbreaking for me to look at, but a bittersweet, joyous occasion for the child's family. who continue to celebrate with their little angel who protects them from heaven. And at this tomb, there were signs of a Day of the Dead celebration, where souls came to have a drink with a fallen friend. And of course, some are completely forgotten, like this small grave. But the saddest of all, at the intersection of limited financial means and few to mourn the dead, was this heart-wrenching grave for an infant, where the only marker was a post-mortem Polaroid from the baby's mother. A lot of people who maybe are not so spooky may wonder why anybody would want to go to a cemetery while on a beach vacation. Now, the truth of the matter is that we love cemeteries and we love the architecture of cemeteries, especially the older they are, the better. And a lot of those cemeteries that we visit, there hasn't been anybody buried in one of those in a century. So you're really going there to just admire the aesthetic beauty of the place. So it's always a little bit humbling when you go to a place and you discover that it is an active cemetery and people are being buried there, presently. Again, people might ask, why would you want to experience that, especially while on vacation? I personally feel that humans should not avoid death. Humans should not be afraid of death. Death is a very, very natural part of life. As they know in Mexico, the Mexican culture certainly has a much more intimate relationship with death than I think than American culture does. And I think that being in a situation like that where you're steps away from the beach while standing in a cemetery, I don't think that's depressing. I don't think that's dark. I think that helps you to realize that our time here on this planet is very, very limited. So it is so important to enjoy it, make the very best of it, and try to be kind to the people around you and make the very best of their lives for them as well. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Having said all of that, I also think it is extremely important that when you're visiting a cemetery, especially if it's an active cemetery, that you behave in a respectful fashion. Keep in mind that just because you or maybe we might be there to admire the tombs and to admire the beauty of the architecture, there are people there who are mourning. And it is extremely important to be respectful of the fact that they might be sad while they're there.
Course.
They are there to honor their deceased relatives. And you really want to stay out of their way and try to make yourself as invisible as possible.
Yeah.
Steps away from this cemetery is the beach, also called Playa de los Muertos. And it's a little bit different from the main Sayulita beach.
Yeah.
Take a look. La Playa at Playa de los Muertos tends to be much less crowded than the main beach, which is a great reason to choose it. There are quiet little spots to sit away from the fray, you can get a massage, and if you're lucky, you might spot a sea turtle. Just be sure to follow the rules and keep your distance from these beautiful animals. And if you've worked up an appetite after some fun in the sun, head back to the cemetery to this little stand for some food and drink. And shucks, if you're cuckoo for coconuts, you can cool down with a refreshing beverage. After cooling down, we returned to Playa Escondida. When we returned to our hut, we had found that yet again, someone or something had entered our hut and had opened up the refrigerator with their creepy little hands. They had removed the fruit, and once again there was a half-eaten mango on the ground.
My mango.
Your mango.
Yes.
Our mango. I was determined to catch this little mango thief, and by catch I mean on film. So I set up my phone on a little tripod. The bedroom area was separated from the rest of the hut by this adobe wall, and there was a little shelf there, so I placed my camera and the tripod right on that little shelf. Now my camera will only shoot for 20 minutes at a time, so I would have to set an alarm to wake me up after 20 minutes. I'd set the camera to shoot, we'd go to bed. 20 minutes later, I'd hear the alarm, I'd get up, I would check the footage, there'd be nothing there, I'd set it to shoot again, I'd set the alarm for 20 minutes, I'd go back to bed. I did this all night long.
Yes, he did.
Which is annoying. I'm guessing. It's annoying for me. But when we woke up in the morning, we had caught our little mango thief.
Take a look.
I watched the footage expecting another dud when suddenly our little mango thief emerged from the jungle. And yes, it was a coati mundi. He got right back to work on the mango he had started eating. And at some point I must have snored because he looked right into the camera. Then after a moment he grabbed a second mango, sniffed the air to make sure the coast was clear, then got to work on that one. He tore right into it, peeling off the soft peel with his paws and teeth, and he really seemed to be enjoying that thing. Next, he went for the pears, but didn't seem to be equipped to dig into the hard fruit. So after a moment, and after having eaten all of our mangoes, he slipped back into the night. He left us only an apple and a couple of pears to enjoy, as well as a really great look at a jungle animal we wouldn't have seen otherwise.
I love him.
He is very, very cute. He could visit us anytime.
He can have all the mangoes he wants.
All the mangoes he likes. It'd be cool if he visited us in the lair.
Yes.
Yes. Don't get excited. That is not going to happen. He is staying in the jungle.
Okay.
You never know. Maybe we'll go back and maybe we'll see him again.
Yes.
My spooky friends, I hope you've enjoyed our first little foray into this Spooky Travel Tuesday episode. Like I said at the beginning, we went to a place that was not particularly spooky, but we ended up running into this Playa de los Muertos, and it really points out something to me, and that is that no matter where you go, no matter how sunny, no matter how tropical, no matter how beautiful or how idyllic, if you are a Gothic soul, you will find the spooky. The spooky will come to you.
That's true.
But there's another side of that coin that's important to understand too, and that is that no one is going to come after you and take away your goth points for having a little fun in the sun. So get out there and have some fun on the beach. Not everything that you do has to fall under the Gothic umbrella. You can go out there and experience the world and take from it what works for you. Travel enriches us all. And so I would highly encourage you that if you have the ability to travel, to get out of your house, get out there, specifically if you can go to another country or experience another culture, because that just makes us really be able to understand and appreciate the world around us even more. Thank you so much for watching.
I have an idea.
You do? What's
Yes.
that?
Let's go visit Quatimundi.
Quatimundi again?
Yeah, let's go to the beach.
We literally just came from there. How about first we go to Sleepy Hollow, Salem, maybe Edinburgh, and then we'll circle back around and find Transylvania's finest beach.
That sounds good.
We'll see you next time
Let's do it.
on Gothic Homemaking.